Starman, are you there? Starman!
The Justice Society must live on. Someone with honor must carry the torch.
I know this has been difficult. The move and a new stepfather, but we're gonna make a good life.
Hey, sorry, that's just real delicate.
What are you?
It's the cosmic staff. It's extremely temperamental. Staff's not supposed to work for anyone except Starman.
This has to be the reason the staff lit up. The staff chose me, and I choose you.
I never thought there'd be another Starman.
Stargirl.
Hello, and welcome to the periodic table of awesome. I'm just going to keep saying hello and then realize that my mic is just getting further and further and further away from me.
Is it really?
How are we this fine evening? How are you, Jill?
Oh, well, thank you.
Fantastic. I'm happy to hear it. Yes. I don't mean to scare you or anything, but you appear to be about to be sorted.
No, baby, I have already done the sorting.
Oh, okay. So have we worked out whether you're a Griffin ham or a Slither puff or a...
What?
I am a Grifflepuff. Wait, no, a Huffledore. Because I'm Hufflepuff, but I do sort of like
Well, you can cross houses
swing
now?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? I mean, I thought J.K. Rowling was in enough trouble. Now she's just crossing the streams.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you, Peter?
I'm great, thank you.
Oh, good. Have you had a lovely week?
Hey, it's been fine.
that sounds ominous and terrifying there, Peter.
It's like, oh, yeah, I guess. I suppose.
I raised Cthulhu from the depths, but, it's been okay.
Yeah,
It's just a
other
bit
than
like
that.
that.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Okay.
And how are you, Dion? Yeah, good. Okay, I'm glad that we
I'm
had
good.
this.
I haven't decided to become a master of the dark arts like Jill, and I haven't had a meh week like Peter. I consider myself good.
Good. Excellent.
How are you, Quinny?
I'm not too bad. I had a very tiring day where I lifted heavy things. I lifted switches, computer switches, 9 of them.
Yeah, those Nintendo Switches, they're so
Yeah, the tiny little things. No, these are the 20 kilo motherfucking HP switches. And I was like, ew, that's heavy and I don't like it.
Oh.
So yes, other than that, I am well. And I have spent this week catching up on our show that we are reviewing today, which is Stargirl.
She's a star girl waiting in the sky. She's on the CW and I've run out of things to try.
Ooh,
I started,
you go.
started strong and then caved.
That was one of those ones I was just like, okay, let's just see how long it takes until he runs out of energy.
Actually, I was going to say, probably didn't even really start that strong. I was going to take a bit of water and shut up. Okay, cool. Hello, everyone, and hello to everyone on the chat. They're all there.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, welcome everyone.
Including the person who actually suggested this review, I notice, Michael Perth. I'm assuming it's Michael Perth, who is our friend who suggested this one. So thank you. Thank you very much for suggesting this. And you know what? You can all do the same. You can make suggestions.
We'll not
You
even
can
talk
tell us
about
We
it.
what you
promise
think we
we'll
should watch.
try to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I
we
didn't
may not even watch it.
And I didn't even
We'll
just
definitely talk about it.
just read the Wikipedia for this one. I watched episodes. Like I did some
What?
work.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I know,
What does
right?
that say about
What?
what Dion does every other time?
I feel like
Shut
you
up,
should
Jill.
all be very,
up.
very thankful because Dion actually did the reading.
I read some.
Some of the reading.
Some of the reading.
And
Some of the reading
then, of
that
course,
showed less dedication than the other students, but that's,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
for effort.
like, well, I don't know about A for effort, but it's certainly a P for pass.
C's
Nearly an NN for nearly.
C's get degrees. Quinny C's get degrees.
No. I was taught P's get degrees, passes. All you got to do is pass.
Yes, well, yeah, that's not these days. Have you not seen the international? No, anyway.
Anyway,
Sorry, continue on. What are we
let's
talking
not
about? We're
go
talking about
down that path.
Stargirl. Yes. Stargirl.
We are. So
The
Stargirl,
CW.
first of all, I guess, Jill, I'm going to go and ask you, were you aware of the character much before this series? Because she's sort of not necessarily, well, I've not been hugely aware of her as a character in the comics.
Oh, okay. Well, I suppose I haven't really read a comic with her in it, except for if anyone's read DC Bombshells, because Aunt Lucia made a lot of DC women very famous by doing like pin-up style versions of them. And then when they made a comic, Stargirl was in that. But she has been around before then.
Okay.
And yes, I did know of her before all of the other stuff.
Right. Okay, because she sort of sits in an interesting place in the DC universe in that she is this kind of idea of the second generation superheroes. I see Peter trying not to laugh, and I don't know
No,
why.
I think she sneezed and she held it in.
Well, don't call attention to it.
Probably busted a couple of ribs, but it didn't go out on the audio, so thanks, Pete.
Well done.
I know there's a couple of people in the chat who are like, bless you.
Because of that. Meanwhile, all I can see is Pete just going, and I'm like, what's funny? I don't think I said anything funny about this character, but you know, yeah.
Yeah. So how familiar is everyone with Stargirl or
What's that, sorry, Dave?
Lord? How familiar is everyone with Stargirl or Starman?
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
Okay.
a lot of people may be more aware of Starman because he's been around in the comics for 50 odd years or thereabouts.
Right.
Yeah, since Blonde's age, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
The Justice Society were the original Justice League. Like,
and this is something that before you get too far into it, I am also very confused about the difference between the Justice Society of America and the Justice League of America. And I hope someone can explain that to me in the future when we get into this a little bit more. Because I was
absolutely
like, where the fuck is Jason Momoa?
not here, thank God.
I was like, this is confusing me.
And yes, Amy says Jason Momoa is now waiting in the sky to come and show us that he thinks he'll blow our minds.
Yes.
So yeah, it's an interesting character because we have seen her a couple of times before on TV. Like the character for somebody who is essentially not that well known to, like it's not an A-lister. This is not a Superboy. This is not a Robin. This is not a Wonder Woman or
not a modern era A-lister for sure.
No, but
not like
she sits
the Arrow, because I mean CW has done a very long line in DC television. So you're sort of saying that where you had Arrow, and you know what were the other ones you had? Flash, and
Supergirl,
Batwoman, and the cream of the crop, which is what was the one that
Legends of Tomorrow.
With Captain
Cream of the crop that I can't remember the name of.
Oh, you deep
is
knowledge.
the cream of the crop, you guys. Like everyone thought it was Arrow, but actually it's Legends of Tomorrow. That show is hands down the best out of all.
Yeah, and then they came out with Stargirl, and I was like, Stargirl. Who?
Yeah.
Okay, so interesting. Were you going to do that?
Go for it, Quinny.
No,
yeah.
You go.
Okay, so they've already introduced the JSA in a previous episode of Legends of Tomorrow, where they traveled back in time to when the JSA were actually, working, which was like the 40s, so during World War II. They had a time travel. They went back in time. They met all these guys, and Stargirl was in that as well. And she's kind of like the sidekick to Starman.
Yeah, but that's not the first time that she's been done in live action on the screen as well, because she appeared in an episode of Smallville back in the day.
That's right, yeah.
Yes, but so did Aquaman and Green Arrow.
Yes, but also the thing is she's always been tied in with the JSA. So there was an episode of Smallville that dealt with this idea of a previous group of superheroes, namely the Justice Society of America, who had existed in the secret before the current crop, whatever the current crop may be.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where they come from in the comics as well, that the JSA was the golden age comics version of the Justice League. So it was that 1950s, I want to say, or not.
I'd say that old.
Yeah, 1950s group, which was the original Green Lantern, that like Alan Scott,
Yeah,
not
Alan Scott.
it was
Wait, there's more than one Green Lantern?
many.
Yes.
And Alan Scott was the kind of dopey Green Lantern whose powers could be brought down by wood. Yeah.
Like a vampire.
Yes.
Oh my God, you've broken it, Peter. The Green Lanterns are vampires.
Yeah. Who else was in the original JSA? Dr. Fate, who was the dude who had the big gold helmet. And in a lot of versions, Hawkman.
Yes, that's right.
So we
There
got
was the
Michael
Flash
Shanks.
as well.
Yes, the original,
Flash.
Jay Garrick Flash, the one with the funny silver helmet as opposed
Yeah.
to the red thing. So it's this sort of idea that there was in the 50s, there were these comics that were about the JSA. They kind of just slid into the background, and then the Silver Age of comics kind of came in with the new version of the Flash, which is, you know, Wally West and
That was Barry Allen.
oh, sorry, Barry Allen. Sorry, my bad.
There's quite an interesting side note. I just need to mention it right now. There's quite an interesting side note going on in the chat about the Justice Society of Australia, which is quite fun. That is a whole other thing that I could talk about forever. We can make one up.
and you may yet.
Yes. Just needed to mention that. Thanks for that, Ian. That was very fun. It amused me. But what is it about? What is it about, Quinny?
Well, I mean, what I'm trying to do is give the context of it, because it's a weird thing that every time Stargirl gets used, it's always in this thing to introduce a previous generation of heroes. Like it's to kind of set up a previous version of whatever Justice League that you're talking about, to go, there is a long history of heroes.
Like, these are your forefathers.
Exactly. And Stargirl is kind of the next generation. And that's she's the young
like
cool
the
one.
Robin to their gang.
So she's the Picard to the Kirk. Is that what you're saying? Sorry, I broke Quinny there for a second. He's like, no, Stargirl.
Stargirl is not Picard. She's Wesley Crusher, if anything.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, she is.
She
Shut up,
totally is.
Stargirl.
Pretty much.
So we had a version of her show up in Smallville for a double episode where they did a whole bunch of JSA stuff and then promptly forgot it and never went back to it. They showed up in Legends of Tomorrow and they did a whole bunch of JSA stuff and then never went back to it.
But she did show up again in the Arrowverse finale thing.
Yeah, the big crisis.
Yes, the Crisis on Infinite Earth.
And was it this
that they did
Stargirl?
on CW?
No,
So-
different actress.
But it puts it out there that they exist on a parallel plane with all the other CW shows, which allows them to come onto the CW network for their second season.
Well, though, funnily enough, at the end of that whole big Crisis on Infinite Earths, they did show this version of Stargirl. So there was another one who died. Yes. Sorry, we've gone hardcore deep DC nerd here. So in one of the sequences, there was a universe that was being killed, and it had another version of Stargirl in it. And then right at the end, where they were like, "Hey, here's all the universes that survived." There was the Titans universe. There was this universe, and a couple of others. I can't remember what the
Snyder universe.
Then the rest of them all got smooshed together into one, which is now considered to be the Prime universe.
Yeah.
Cool. So just
Yeah.
like the comics,
So
they're
does
doing
that
it all.
explain your question,
fucking
Dean?
same. Yeah, absolutely. I consider myself
That convoluted history.
I am now an expert on the disease.
Yeah, and yes, as Ardella says in the chat, just carrying that tradition of DC having really fucking messy universes
Yes.
into their TV stuff.
Sure, why the fuck not?
And
Yeah.
what's more, doing exactly what they did in the comics, which is trying to fix all of their continuity and fucking it up and making it
Fucking
infinitely
make
more
it-
messy in exactly that same moment.
Unless they're going to do something like that is totally just kind of BDE standing there going and just replace a main character halfway through a season and just not even mention it.
They kind of have.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, did they?
Yeah. Well,
or like
I
maybe
mean,
get rid of
we
Batwoman?
yet to see what's going to happen for season 2 of Batwoman.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
for fuck's sake. Anyway. All right. Okay. Peter, how are you going down there?
I'm totally fine. This is great. I care a lot about this content.
I nearly spat drink everywhere.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that brings us to the DC streaming service. What was it called? The DC?
DC Universe Online.
No,
Wasn't
that was a game.
No, wasn't there a DC Universe streaming service?
Yeah, there was a
There was,
DC.
and now
There
they've
was, but
shut it down.
DC Universe. Original, yeah, DC Universe.
so yes, there was DC Universe, which was a streaming service, and out of that we got Titans, we got Doom Patrol, we got Harley Quinn, the animated series,
Swamp
and
Thing?
we got this and Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Don't mention
Which
Swamp
they
Thing.
can.
Yes.
About, so bummed.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, each of them has now been kind of divvied out to other networks. And it's like, oh, well, maybe HBO Max, you can keep making Doom Patrol.
Yay.
And CW, you can have Stargirl. And I'm not sure who the fuck's making Titans from now on.
Oh, is it Netflix? Are they backing it?
I don't know.
Because it goes straight to Netflix.
Mm.
It doesn't matter. Just fuck
That might be
Batman.
their exclusive.
Just, yeah, exactly.
Fuck
Fuck
Batman.
Batman. But okay,
Yeah.
what did we think of Stargirl? Like,
wait,
for
hang on.
somebody who doesn't have any of that
what about-
weird fucking
For
encyclopedic
everyone
knowledge.
to follow along, though, first of all, you need the premise, Quinny. What is Stargirl about? We
Okay.
don't even know
Tell
that.
A teen develops a budding romance with Stargirl Caraway, a free-spirited new student who makes a big splash on a first. Hang on, no, that's the wrong film.
No.
That's
Oh.
the Disney
That's
movie
not
called
right.
Stargirl, which
Oh,
No,
that's
yeah, that did
wait.
not
So
sound right.
you're telling me I should have watched a television show called Stargirl?
Oh no!
sorry about that. Okay, no, there's a
'Cause that was like-
Dion, do you have one?
One decade after nearly all of the Justice Society of America were killed in battle against the Injustice Society of America, high school student Courtney Whitmore discovers the cosmic staff of Starman, and upon learning that her stepfather, Pat Dugan, used to be Starman's sidekick, becomes the inspiration for a whole new generation of superheroes. Because
Thanks, old timey dude.
I didn't really know what fucking time it was, except every time I saw all of the old Justice Society, it immediately went, oh, this is 1940, 50, like just post World War II.
60, 70,
And then they
80.
take it like,
Who knows?
yeah, it's like 2008. I was like, what? It was like 8 years ago. I'm like, that's 2012, guys. This is what you're saying here, and I am confused.
I think we're all very confused by
Look,
the
it's like
timelines
when
in this series.
It's like when people say to me, "Oh, so like 40 years ago," and I'm like, "Oh, the 60s." And I'm like, "No, the 80s." Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, it's like big oofed.
It's hurtful and weird.
It's so hurtful. and
Just
weird.
remember the kids.
Because as anytime somebody says 30 years ago, I go in the 70s. And
Yes,
I'm like,
right. I'm like,
Just
no.
remember, there are teenagers out there right now who have never been in a world without an iPhone.
Yeah, true. And as Beck says, she's like, it feels so 90s. Come on. I'm like, it does feel kind of 90s, but all of those characters, all of the Justice Society characters, they don't feel very 90s. They feel
You know who's totally in the 90s in that show?
Jeff Winger.
Cindy. Cindy with her like brat doll streaks That's,
Oh.
oh my god.
Yes.
Yes.
And her weird, like, clueless outfits that she wears to school.
Oh God, it is totally clueless, isn't it?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's living in the 90s.
Stop trying to make megalomania happen. It's not going to happen.
I don't know. I mean, speaking of feeling old, I think this
Yeah.
series made me feel a bit old.
Oh, Pete, did you
Because
think it was too junior?
I think I'm a little older than their target market.
I think we all are.
Weirdly. I mean,
Mm.
I really should have been with Stargirl, with Stargirl. I mean, as a Buffy obsessive from way back, like I should have been right with her, but I spent half the series going, fucking listen to your elders. Jesus Christ.
It does feel like my teenage sister watches Stargirl and I watch Supergirl.
Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
Babyface Club little sister version
Yes.
of Buffy. It's like,
Yes.
you actually can't do this, Courtney. You like listen to Luke Wilson. He's like being smart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jesus
you should listen to off-brand Owen Wilson. Hang on, no.
Oh, leave Luke Wilson alone. He's such a teddy bear of a guy.
You should listen to President Not Sure. He knows what he's talking. He's a smart man.
He is the smartest man on the planet.
Yeah,
No, I wonder if coming into season 1 of Buffy at this age, I would have the same.
Whether you would actually be
feeling,
rooting
if I
for
would
Joy.
be like, I just want to slap that young girl across her face, you know, get that smirk off her the way adults used to like
Look at
Yeah.
it,
talk about
floating around in the air with a little like hoverboard stuff and doing things against her elders and not listening and perhaps putting people in danger.
Buffy had an attitude. Buffy had a real attitude. Courtney doesn't have so much of an attitude as much as she has just zero concept of self-preservation.
Yeah.
Or preservation of
She
others.
manages to pivot so quickly between, you know, caring about people and wanting to help them and they're just being really fucking annoying. And
Yes.
it's kind of hard to
Yes.
get on board with her as a character.
And to be honest, I was really struggling kind of from the get-go to work out what was meant to be so likable about her. Like, she's the lead character and I'm like, not sure why. I mean, other than the fact that she does some cool stuff with the flying and the staff and the kicking ass here and there, but I mean, what else am I meant to hang my head on?
And she's got the staff and the naive belief that she's always right. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Look,
that's a bit of
Beck's like,
for
she
you.
cute though. And I was like,
self-confidence on middle-class white women in middle America is usually something that needs to be reinforced on television all the time.
what we need is more middle-class, middle-aged white women with blonde hair who are right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I think it was bad per se. I felt like, ooh, I'm not the audience.
No.
There is
And
an audience. It's probably not me.
it's interesting because I was going to say something very, very similar, but also kind of calling out this whole thing of them referencing old school JSA stuff is kind of hitting to a really old school comic book nerd crowd, like older than me, older than, you know, like these are old school collectors who know who the fuck Alan Scott was as a Green Lantern and get that thing about wood.
Is that
So-
why they retconned him into being gay?
I know it, great. I love that.
His weakness is wood.
Wow. Wow. I thought it a little while ago and I thought, no, I won't make that joke because
That's what
Someone's got to go there.
you are so evil.
it's
That-
evil
that-
Jill tonight. It's like, it's time for Halloween.
All of the big jokes.
Wow. And as Casper said, so close to having a Green Lantern finally on screen because we've never had Green Lantern on screen before.
Shut the fuck up. We have had Ryan Reynolds is the best Green Lantern and the only Green Lantern that we should ever see.
You need to wash your mouth out, my friend.
He can
He
do
Greg
it all.
Berlanti that wrote that movie had a really raw deal from the friggin' Warner Brothers, so
Oh
well,
yeah.
he's making up for it with all of the TV shows.
Oh, and don't forget that also Green Lantern's best friend in that film is Taika fucking Waititi, and everybody forgets that.
Yeah,
You leave
probably
Tyler
because I only
alone.
watched that movie once.
Yeah,
He's a
same. I
national-
watched it in the cinema and never went back.
He's a national
Anyway,
treasure. Yeah.
I feel like it's that weird thing of it's aiming at a young teenage audience, young, like
Yeah.
we're talking,
Tween.
tween girl audience, because to me that's what the characters are really kind of aiming for. But then you've got this whole weird kind of thing of backstory with old dudes. There's a lot of old dudes.
Do you know what it kind of reminds me of, like a Pixar film, but in reverse. So it is literally something for, like, it's built for the tween audience, but every now and again they're just throwing in little bits and pieces of stuff for older people and older fans. Like, it's like, oh, Luke Wilson's in this? Like, oh, he is the movie star. Why is he in this television show? And then it's all this older kind of stuff. Meanwhile, at its heart, it is really very much about a teen girl drama. Oh, well, Buffy.
Yeah, it's a
lovely.
family show.
I mean,
It's got a lot of family values.
Okay,
It's
fair enough.
definitely
Pete.
not Buffy.
It doesn't have the charm of Buffy, and I mean it has this sort of weird goofiness that sometimes feels like it's really playing to the comic bookiness, and then other times where it doesn't feel like it's quite hitting its mark.
Well, there's other times where they just straight up
To
murder
me-
kids.
To me, it's
yes,
kind of
there was a
like
bit of kid murder too.
I was like,
look, there's a lot of murder in this show. It is weird how much there's murder in this show. But at the same time, why does it feel like a show that, a 13-year-old could sit down and watch with a parent and everybody would enjoy it? Like, it's kind of like a dinner time little romp.
Yeah. But look, I find this everything that's come out of the DC Universe streaming service has this really weird kind of thing where it's like, yeah, it's really hitting on the kind of flavor of the comics, but then it'll do something super fucking weird, like fuck Batman. And you're like, hang on, that was unnecessarily violent, or that was unnecessarily adult, or there was a lot of kid murder in this.
Unnecessarily murdery.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure I'm down with that.
No, it's like,
and also weirdly, like, not unnecessarily funny, but in some points, like I'm just remembering the opening scene, which we will see during the transition of the break. There is a moment between Luke Smith. Sorry.
Nope.
The guy from The Cure.
Robert Smith.
No, Luke Wilson and who's the original
Look,
one?
I keep going to call him Luke Evans.
John McHale. Yes.
And I keep calling him Owen.
And Joel McHale, when they're talking like in character and being really deadpan funny at each other. I know, and I was like, is this where we are? Is this a comedy?
It sets
You
you up
must
for
find
completely the
someone
wrong
to-
tone.
It's like you must find someone to take over this, but not you.
Not you.
Someone
No.
worthy.
Yeah, not you who's been my sidekick for years. Someone else, just definitely not you.
This is terrible because it's always nice to have a female lead, but I wanted to watch that show.
Yeah.
more than I
Yes.
wanted to watch the show.
Yeah.
show that
It's
I
a very Joss Whedon style humor kind of thing that they chucked in there, and I could have watched a whole show of that.
Yeah. Yeah, like that kind of self-aware and snarky and funny. And I mean, hey, Joel McHale is somebody who is eminently watchable and maybe
And snarky funny.
Yeah. But yeah, it is such that opening sequence that we will see
Yeah.
does set you up for a very different kind of show. Like, it goes in hard on the comic book stuff. Like, that opening sequence is special effects going fucking everywhere. And then they kind of pull back on that a little bit for the rest of the show. I mean, if there's one thing that I do like about the show a lot, it is the visual effects on it. Like, I really quite enjoyed the kind of stuff with the staff and the fighting and the giant fucking robots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, there's some really cool visual effects stuff in this.
And Solomon Grundy. Oh
I
my
know.
god.
Shh, come on, guys. I haven't got that far in yet.
Do your homework.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Like, fair. Like, I have seen 6 episodes. 6?
Hey, well done.
6 episodes of this, which is enough to make me go, actually, that's better than I thought.
Oh, okay.
But yes, on the other hand, though, they're very long.
They are.
Sorry.
They remind me of the kind of, in some ways, the worst parts of CW TV. You know, that thing where there's a love triangle and, you know, there's a lot of
I'm sorry,
filler.
you're saying the worst parts of CWTV? That's the only reason we watch CWTV.
Yeah, they're soap opera superhero shows. That's
The
why we
problem
watch
with
it.
this is that it doesn't hit that hard enough
Not
because
enough
it's
soap
aiming it at
opera.
a younger audience.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I will happily consume beautiful trash that is CW, regardless of how good it is, if there is like one interesting love triangle in it. And this didn't hit any of those nerves for me. Again,
Were
because
there any
it's
love
filler.
triangles?
In this show?
Yeah. No, they kind of sort of sidestep. I mean, there was very
There was a
little
weird
actual...
unrequited kind of shit going on, but no, there's no love triangle.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
the
that
love
and-
triangle
and
was the love that
unresolved,
she
that
found
weird
along the way.
unrequited stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's what it needed more of. Or, I mean, maybe we should have tried to have found somebody who is 13-ish and had watched it, because I think maybe you're right, Peter. Maybe this ain't aimed at us, and there is a generation that really doesn't particularly want love triangles and everything, and doesn't want soap opera superheroes, and wants fun action and people being progressive and, you know.
Yes. Look, as much as I love the soap and the love triangles and all that stuff from the superhero stuff that I consume all of,
You really
I
do.
still really enjoyed this show. Like, I got something from it. And I think, like, the positive messages that come through are really important for the audience that are watching it.
There are, but let me tell you, that towards the end, there is a couple of mixed messages that I was
Murder
like,
is not okay.
murder is not
Not
okay.
okay.
But when we come to the spoiler section after the break, I need to unpack some big shit and
Okay.
go, what's up with this? So
Oh,
be
fair
prepared
enough.
for it.
And like, I mean, to be fair, I'm fine with the spoiling because I don't know if I'm going to return for the remainder of the season.
I see.
Unless it was on in the background, so I'm down for that. I mean, I did like some of the narrative stuff that they took with this, which is like, you know, this is just a regular town in America, like a regular town from anywhere, but everyone just seems to be a psychopath or a supervillain. But then a lot of people who are on city councils and live in small towns anywhere in the world would probably say that
small town that the super evil villain gang decides to call home.
yeah, and I like that. That was kind of fun for me. I was watching that going, oh yeah, it's like, how would they not know? Oh no, that's fine. You know, sometimes you can be like, oh, that's Betty. She's a bit hard. Like, you know, like everything's fine except for her one little thing, which is like, you must keep your hedges this tall. And then she probably
it's a
would
little hot
murder
fuzz,
you.
really, isn't it?
Kind of a little hot fuzz, but I like that. I
The
like that about
greater
them.
good.
Yes, the greater good. Yeah, but like, kind of, that was fun. Did you like anything else about the show?
Well, I wanted to ask who. I mean, we obviously weren't necessarily in love with Courtney, but favorite characters for everybody.
All right.
President, not sure.
Favorite.
I mean, as a weird, quiet nerd person, I liked Beth.
With her goggles of
Wait, hang on a second. I don't think she was quiet.
No.
She talked
I
forever.
liked that she was in the end always kind of the voice of reason, going, oh hey, you know what, maybe we should listen to this person, or like, you know, maybe this isn't a bad thing to do, and kind of sitting a little bit on that edge of being the moral compass of the group.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess I found her introduction and her, you know, cheeriness and fucking things really fucking annoying. So it didn't take me long to be just like, oh God, please.
She's like the weird frumpy friend.
Yeah.
Sorry, Beth.
I liked all of them, actually. I liked all the kids when they were interacting with each other. Like, I found the high school stuff, like all the high schoolers in their interactions were actually very normal or believable.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Normal? Don't know.
Better than normal, but just at least believable, because most of the time, like, you're superheroes, fuck off. Like, teenage kids would do. They'd be like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You're a fucking idiot. Like, great. But honestly, for me, Luke Wilson's deadpan delivery and confused looks and relentless positivity made me
He's
just
so
sort of go,
sweet.
just kind of like, I know my place in life, and all I can do is support other people as they lift to greatness.
I
Kinda
agree.
feels
I
like
did
Luke
really
Wilson.
love his character so much.
He was great.
And I think I also liked Yolanda. I thought she had a really good story. And
I was
like,
intrigued by that because that,
Yeah,
like, if you're talking about a tween audience, that particular her kind of core story is, I mean, pretty hard hitting, but also what a lot of young girls are dealing with at the moment.
exactly. And I think how she uses her superhero opportunity to kind of deal with that and try and discover who she is and who she wants to become is like really strong part of the story.
Yeah, interesting thing, taking on, Wildcat, which is, one of those characters you're like, okay, because, and there is something that feels so old school about those characters. Original Wildcat was just a boxer, put on a funny outfit and was a boxer, and they're like, okay, cool, well, let's update that a bit. But yeah,
I mean,
I guess unrestrained fury is a good thing for her.
I had a special shout out for Henry Thomas, who was Dr. Midnight. Yes. Or Chuck. Also
Well,
the
yes.
voice, yeah.
But where else was he from?
I don't know. Where is Henry Thomas from?
He was Elliot.
Oh.
Oh,
of course he
and he's also
is.
in the haunting shows on Netflix.
Sorry, is that a scary one? Because no.
Yeah, you should watch Hill House. Hill House. Hill House.
good.
He was the dad in that.
Good, thanks.
Yeah, okay.
That was a good one too. Like when I worked that out, I was like, "Why is he so familiar?" Oh, right. Okay.
Any characters that didn't work for folks? Go on, Dion. Don't just snigger.
I'll just drink my tea over here in the corner. I mean, a lot of them weren't really necessary, but they had to fill it out because their books are so large. Like, I think there's always an inherent danger when you have a show of this nature, which is about two teams of people, that you need to flesh everyone out in a certain way. And sometimes it's not really the actor's fault. They're just given certain scenes that they've got to try and become memorable in. And, other times they just need a body on stage to fly across.
In the chat, Michael saying Dr. Ito seemed underused, and I'm still not entirely sure what the dragon actually was all about.
Oh, he's definitely there in makeup.
He is definitely evil.
Yeah. But also
generic evil person.
You need
somebody
a bit of
said that they like the brother, and that's the one thing that I'm actually going to have to hang my hat up on and say, I'm sorry, I fucking hated that little brother.
The little boy.
He was a shithead.
He was a bit of a shithead, but he was a shithead with heart.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, he was a shithead with heart, but his acting shat me up the wall. There was something about him that felt like he was giving it just a bit too much.
Not as much as the gambler. I say, I'm a southern gentleman.
Oh my god, yes.
But you're like, really?
Oh, yeah. He was the worst.
If he pulled out a handkerchief and just mopped his brow every time he talked,
yeah.
that would have been better. I do declare.
Yeah. Well, I must, if I may, take all your money from you.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Was he the gambler?
Yeah.
I mean, I liked Sportsmaster out of costume.
Yes.
I like Sportsmaster out of costume.
Okay.
Fucking Sportsmaster.
Okay. Can I just say, fucking Sportsmaster and Tigress and Artemis. I'm like, for anyone, and I know there's got to be someone on the chat that has watched Young Justice.
Yes.
You have got to be living for those characters and hoping that they do
Abso-fucking-lutely.
something with Artemis in the next season.
God, yes. Because I'm a big fan of Young Justice, and seeing that whole thing play out, and the first time you sort of see Sportsmaster, you're kind of like, are they going to do the full Sportsmaster? And then they did
Oh,
it, and
I
he's so
wish.
goofy.
Like, the whole thing with Sportsmaster is like, if you think Taskmaster is the worst hero in the Marvel, villain in the Marvel universe, Sportsmaster is like his antithesis, but lamer.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's proficient at all sports and uses it for evil.
But he is.
When you put it like that, it's dumb.
But you've made
Yeah,
him.
right?
You've made him a personal trainer and gym instructor. It's
Yeah.
perfect. It's perfect.
All I could think of is that he's every PE teacher I ever had at high school.
But also, like, that guy's a psychopath. He made me do burpees.
Every PE teacher I had at high school.
Yeah.
The only thing he was missing was a tiny little fucking pencil-thin mustache
And a whistle.
Yeah.
And a whistle. Always a whistle.
and overly tight shorts.
Ooh, they're like
Yeah.
really short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
One of those
yeah.
big net bags full of balls. And a whistle. Just-
I feel like we're really getting out some of our internal demons here.
Oh dear. Oh goodness gracious.
So I love Sportsmaster. I thought he was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm sorry to anyone who liked the little brother. More power to you. But like, there were a
It's
couple of
okay.
points where he finally got to tone back on the acting a little bit, and just say some lines. But yeah,
Yeah. He thought he was in a straight-to-video C-grade Christmas movie.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, just fucking calm down, Chief.
Very ham.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's always dangerous for a production when I'm just quickly scrolling through the cast there, and it's like, here's your main cast, and then your recurring cast, and then some guest cast, and then some co-stars. Like, I mean, they've had to separate them into 4 specific levels just to remind you that there are a lot of people on this show, and they all can't have focal points. Like,
I must admit, I struggled a little bit between Brainwave and Icicle a few times. Like, I knew that they were different characters and stuff, but I was kind of like, they're too
Here's
thin.
a white dude, and here's another
White dude motivated by good fridging.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Characters.
Yeah.
well, I mean, you try to fridge them. That's kind of the point. They fridge the kids at a drop of a hat. Like,
Yeah.
a kid turns up and they're like, oh, he went to summer camp.
He did.
Easy.
I gotta say, one thing that I did really like about this show was the relationship that developed among the team of misfit children who become Stargirl's team. There's a nice little bit of walls breaking down in the face of true friendship that's a bit heartwarming, I thought.
Yeah.
A bit nice.
Yeah, she sort of you warm up to those characters.
I
and-
liked Stargirl's Stargirl. I mean, Courtney's. I like her incessant friendliness up to the point where they had agreed stuff and then they had their own opinions. She's like, "That's great, shut up. Like, you're on the team now." I was kind of like, "Oh my god, she is the popular one in charge of the group."
Yeah.
Like, there was an episode where they're going to actually do some training to go
Oh,
out as
man.
a group. And then she just jumps out there and destroys all of the training dummies. And everyone's like, what the fuck, girl?
Yeah, she gets a good calling out for
Like,
that one. though.
literally.
I
So I'm
really
like, what the
enjoyed that
fuck?
because I did actually have a moment where I'm like, well, that was a dick move. And then somebody said, that was a dick move. And I was like,
Yep.
It's
They
lit-
called her out on her bullshit.
Yeah, there's a little bit of smart writing in there. It's like, she's gonna do this. Why? Oh, my character's nice. Not really.
yeah.
Still
no.
learning.
That's
And
what
that-
I was
that's-
like saying at the beginning, how she pivots between these two personalities.
Yeah. Being super helpful and really nice and then a pain in the dick. You're
Yeah.
like, could you not?
Yeah.
I want to shout out to the fight choreography and stuff like that. There are moments in this that I saw things done that I haven't seen done on TV before. Like, I've watched a lot of superhero TV. Maybe not as much as Jill, but pretty
No,
fucking
definitely
close.
not as much. Because I
Okay.
know I've seen everything. We'll probably still catch up.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have watched a lot of superhero TV, and it was lovely seeing some fight choreography done with that staff. that I haven't seen before. And I actually was really interested in the way that they moved the fights around. And it wasn't just the standard, we're going to take a wide stance and big haymakers at each other and throw each other into a wall and stuff like that. There was some interesting stuff.
Yeah, there was a whole
Yeah, I
thing with
liked her fight with
Sportsmaster,
Cindy.
Sorry?
hockey pucks, Sportsmaster, baseballs.
Yes. And not Artemis, Tigress? No.
Tigress, yeah.
Yeah, Tigress,
wife.
who, you know, fought very differently and had the little guns and stuff. What are they called?
Guns?
Crossbows.
Oh.
Well, she uses them like a gun, but that was interesting because she was doing different things. And even from the sequence that we're about to watch when we go to the break, there is some interesting use of powers, and they don't shy away from it. So something I like about this is that unlike a lot of the other CW shows, like the Arrow and stuff like that, this doesn't shy away from its comic book nature.
Yeah.
Like, it leans in hard on the fact that this is comic booky. And it's like, here's all these characters, here's all these weird fucking things. Like, half of the shit that is on the movie billboard out the front of the cinema is hilarious because they're referencing weird fucking obscure DC characters. Like,
I need to go back and see this then.
The Phantom Tank. There is a movie on that thing which is called The Phantom Tank or Ghost Tank. And that is a random fucking DC character that has never shown up anywhere. I was like, nice.
Well, maybe there's a blog post there. You can make a whole bunch of like, look at all this weird shit that came from there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I liked in the first episode their moving van was Action Movers. And it was the Action Comics logo.
Yeah, they're clearly having a lot of love for their DC roots in this.
That was the thing too. Like, I think, you know, you're right. All of the art direction points towards 1950s Americana. You know, they're all driving classic cars,
including like the music choices as well.
The music choices point to the 90s.
Oh no, I was gonna say like the actual 50s pops that they had going on in some of the scenes.
Yeah,
they did. The music was actually really interesting because obviously I clocked the acoustic bop right at the beginning of the first episode,
of course,
and I thought, oh god, you know, somebody on the team is into 90s stuff. But then no, the music actually was from a bunch of eras, but it was kind of nice to hear some old classics from the childhood in there.
Yeah. And the town itself seems to be stuck in this weird half 90s, half 50s kind of.
Yeah, very like Americana style.
It's funny, like it reminds me a lot of when the Batman the Animated Series came out way back in early 1990 actually, yeah. There was this weird thing where like the TVs in it were all old CRTs and stuff like that were all black and white, but there were still supercomputers.
Yeah.
And, you know, the
styling, it was definitely like futuristic 1920s.
And I feel maybe like that's what they were trying to do here, is kind of go, this is a weird universe where it is the 90s, but the 90s looks an awful lot like the 50s.
Yeah.
And the JSA was operating in the 70s, but the 70s was also kind of like the 40s. And
they have iPhones.
And they have iPhones, exactly. And yeah, it's a weird sort of mishmash of styles. And I don't know, does it work? Did it work for everybody?
I enjoyed the series. I really did.
I didn't really care about the era because I don't know what era all of those other superheroes are supposed to fit into. So I was just like, sweet, 90s pop jam. And then I moved on.
I'll go with it. I'm down.
Nice.
Dear.
Well, I reckon we should do a rating and have a look at the clip.
Yeah, the clip goes
and then we'll come back and talk spoilers
for a while. So, but maybe we'll, you know, when we get bored, we'll just pull the pin and come back. It goes for like 3.5 minutes. I'm not going to sit you through 3.5 minutes of clip.
I don't know. There's some good comedy in there somewhere.
Maybe it's good. Like, it's a good clip. It's also a good opener. Like, solid.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, rate it. Someone.
Ooh.
Jill, which time?
90.
90.
90.
Are you looking forward to season 2?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch season
right.
2. Like, I absorb all of this stuff like so quickly and so readily. I'm always down for it. Like,
Just
yeah,
pour it on me.
I'm glad that now it's officially on the CW, so maybe we'll get some crossovers.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. I think we could, but then at the same time, okay, we got a 75 from Casper in the chat, which is I love that people are now doing their ratings in the chat. But no,
Shit,
this is
was 90
great.
too high? I don't know.
No, hey,
If you
don't
love it,
second guess
love it.
yourself. Also, if you do want to rate, you can go to the website and you can rate
Yes.
the film yourself on our website or
Please
the
do.
series.
Whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. Michael from Perth gives it a 90 plus.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well,
There
he
you go.
requested it, of course he likes
True. So he may be biased. Peter.
it.
I'm with Casper in the chat. I was going to go 75. Like look, I don't think it's bad. I
Yeah,
think
it's
that
just not for you.
it does what it does well, but it's not for me. I'm not the audience. And you know, there are kind of a lot of moments where I was like, seriously, come on, does this chick not get cold? Like, how are they flying that? She's not even wearing a jacket. What?
Oh, there was a point near the end where she was flying in the winter, and I'm like, fuck off.
Suspension
And
of
I do
disbelief.
I've got a little bugbear that kind of knocked points off for me. Just that, like, I love a female protagonist, but I'm a little bit bored by a very slender white female protagonist. And like, I don't think it's not that they've done anything wrong. It's just that I find it a little boring, and I would love to start seeing things a little bit different to that. So 75.
There is a part of me that's like, I need to lose a bit more weight so I can cosplay her. And I'm like,
But see,
wait.
that's the problem. And if this is
Yes, that is the problem.
If
That
this is
the
aimed at
problem.
tweens, and this is not what they need to be seeing, it's like I do think it's actually a little bit irresponsible, to be honest.
If you're making a woman in a age bracket want to lose weight, maybe you should look at yourself.
Yeah, so I knocked points off for that because it did bug me all the way through. All the way through, it bugged me in those tiny shorts and that little midriff that, you know, this is not a superhero that I need to see in 2020. I actually need to see superheroes that look a bit different to this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's very much Jeff Johns from the 90s going, yeah, I want to make a cool, hip superhero character. Actually, not the 90s, 2000s. I think Stargirl actually first appeared in the comics. Because the original character Starman back in the 50s, but then there was a remake or a reimagining in the 90s. So it wasn't until the 2000s that we got Stargirl. And when she first showed up, it was the crop top and it was the tight things and the Doc Marten boots and stuff like that. And now I think maybe we need a different look.
We do. We really, really do.
Yeah.
I probably would have enjoyed the series a lot more if I felt like there was just a bit more representation there, particularly given that I was getting the understanding that this is aimed at young girls.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a character that I realized we didn't even talk about, and there's an entire thing of the. Sorry.
Owlman?
Well, Owlman, who we haven't mentioned at all, but then again, do we care? But there's also the character of Shining Knight who shows up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we can talk about
that's a bit spoilery. Also,
we've almost done a whole hour before the break. So.
Yeah, true. Okay. Dion, give us a rating.
40 for the amount of characters that I read were in here at the start.
40 characters.
Wow. 40 different entries of people just on the character cast list alone. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. That's a lot of stuff. No, I think 40 is a bit harsh. Look, it's really not for me, but I did like the bits that seemed to be written for me. Like, that's the whole thing. It's like Luke Wilson and all of the back stuff. I was just like, yeah, I kind of get that. Everything that's not old people, I'm just old now. I'm a middle-aged white dude. So I don't get it and I don't like it. So,
Becky's very proud of your 40 as a reasonable rating.
Well, we can tell what she thought of it.
Yeah, well, she's only watched an episode, yes. But whatever.
Yes. Okay, then fine. 45.
Wow, harsh.
Stick to your
No,
guns. I
no.
like that's. I don't think it's an unreasonable
It's just-
rating for your personal enjoyment of the show.
No,
Yeah.
you're allowed to think whatever the fuck you want.
Sure. 2 then.
Fucking okay.
We're going to take your first option. Let's move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Quinny, give us a quick rating, and then we'll go. on to
Okay,
the
I'm gonna go
fancy fight
84.
scene.
I had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, I don't think it was actually aimed at me, and I don't know that they necessarily knew who the fuck they were aiming at for most of the series.
Sure.
It's weird. Anyway, we should have a clip and we'll come back and talk spoilery stuff.
Yes, have a quick look at the opening scene, which is the. Well, yeah, you'll get it.
Yeah, you'll get it. It's fine. Volume's low there.
Dr. Midnight! Stripesy! Get out! Run! Power Man!
Welcome to the show.
And then it all went weird. that's where the video went all kind of wonky.
Yeah, the video kind of went a bit wonky there. That's good. It worked in the pre-run, but hey, whatever. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
What's that, Peter?
But it had audio.
It had audio.
Yeah, we got something right.
Yeah, and maybe our mics are on, but who knows?
Anyway, doesn't matter. Oh, now,
Stick
now
around
I've-
after the show to find out if we're still live.
Yeah. No, shut up.
While we were watching that, I remembered like one of the bits where I really thought, "Oh my god, Courtney is such a dick," and that's where she burns out every single one of the sewing machines in the sewing room
And
at
then
school
just
trying
walks
to make a
off.
costume.
It just fucking goes, nah, fuck it.
Yeah.
But also,
Oh,
like,
dear.
real talk, that's so me making costumes. I'm like, fuck this machine! Quick, get another one.
Oh god, yes. Yeah, that was the opening scene, which we trying to get to the good part of it, where there's the quip, I think, between John
funny.
McHale and Luke Wilson, just going, no, you can't be Starman.
Yeah.
Take the
And I
stuff.
like it because every single version of the whole, Starman thing, usually it seems to start, like every live action one involves Starman dying and Stripes are getting fucked over.
Yeah. Can I
Like,
be Starman?
I could be Starman. No, you can't. Okay.
Can we also talk about like how bad of a sidekick named Stripesy is?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they made a lot of jokes about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Luke Wilson's still looking like a middle-aged man dressed as a boy.
But he's got a giant robot now. He's cool.
How fucking long ago was this supposed to have been compared to now? Like
10 years. So yeah, apparently Luke Wilson hasn't actually aged, but then again,
and nor has Joel McHale. Spoilers.
no. Oh well, okay. We are in the spoiler section, so we will be talking about things that happen at the end of the season, and
Sure.
and also looking forward to what may happen next season.
I'm moving the spoilery thing around because the names for Jill and Peter are going to get covered if I put it in the middle.
Okay, it was very nice. I like the way that you moved it.
I'm just
It
moving
was
it
fine.
anyway.
In
Oh,
between
you
us.
didn't
Fine.
get our layout like we normally do.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Right.
I didn't get the right one. Sorry.
I do like Joel McHale. He is fun. And yeah,
Not who
Will-
I would normally pick for a superhero, though.
I think that's the
No.
point, though.
I think he'd make a great sassy, like he'd probably make a good Guy Gardner.
Ooh, no, someone else. I saw someone else put a thing up recently about a different
Sean
person.
William Scott.
Yeah, maybe. I think Sean William Scott make a great Guy Gardner.
He'd be perfect for it.
Especially if he's just
Sorry,
playing
Pete. This is hardcore DC nerdery.
This is nerd talk.
basically in the Green Lantern Corps, which there are a lot of Green Lanterns, which is all supposed to. What is it like? You have to be worthy, or what's the thing in Brightest Day, Darkest Night? But the Green Lanterns
it's
Corps.
a Thor shit thing.
Yeah, this whole sort of you've got to be really cool about it. Like somehow, someone gets one of these rings and they're a complete dick.
Yeah,
like a super dick.
Like
and
jock
everyone.
level dick.
And
it's all willpower. So he may be a complete dick, but he's got a lot of willpower.
yeah,
so
but
go
he's got a
figure.
lot of willpower, so he's just a complete fuckstick, and everyone hates him. And
I sincerely hope that we do see.
And they
the
made
Green
him an
Lantern.
official
He has a goofy bowl cut.
They made him an official Lantern, and then like really put comic like he was the Green Lantern for a long time in comics, and everyone's like, "This guy's a fuckstick."
And he wears a vest,
Guy
like a
Gardner.
motorcycle vest.
Oh,
and
that
has a
sounds like the
bowl cut.
worst thing.
Yeah, he's totally the worst because of that vest.
He's the worst. And his haircut.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But anyway, so we've got some of the characters that show up. There are good moments. There are bad moments. Owlman. Does anyone care about Owlman?
yes, he has a little hourglass, which makes
I'm
him
like,
strong.
I'm going to invent myself a superpower, and that's strength, but I can only do it for 1 hour of a day.
Yeah.
Well, I gave him.
What's the point?
But he gave himself that limitation because too much power in the hands of it wouldn't tempt him to use it. It's like, oh fuck, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
So our man's straight up good guy.
Yeah. Yes. Straight up good guy, but when
Good
you know,
guy, Owl Man.
second generation Owlman, we kind of forgot about, and nobody seems to care about.
I didn't hate him as a character. I liked that he had a bit of an arc again, you know, learning to trust the friends and becoming a part of the team. But the arc that I really liked was Henry's, because that got me a bit tearsy at the end. I love a redemption story.
Which one's Henry?
I mean, you know, deep spoilers. Sorry, Dion.
Sorry.
That surprised me about how murdery that bit got.
And especially right at the end with Yolanda. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck
I'm
me.
like, damn, girl.
Yeah.
Like when you kids sign up to be superheroes, that includes killing people, even
Yeah,
if
like-
they are bad guys.
Straight up, you know, cutting people's throats and shit. You're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, maybe I should watch the end of the season then. Also, because I want to see Lou Ferrigno Jr.
Solomon Grundy is fun. When that finally sort of pays off, you're like, oh yeah, they've been teasing that enough to make it worthwhile.
Sure.
So there is a big plot thing, and we are in deep spoiler territory here. So the overarching plot of what the bad guys are trying to do.
Yeah, what is that? What are they doing?
That was a
Make it
really nice
clean.
payoff.
The planet.
Yeah.
So what they're trying to do is they're trying to change, take mind control 6 states, and then it gets bigger, and they want to take over the middle section of essentially
they're
the flyover
starting-
states of
They're
America.
starting grassroots,
Yep.
and then they're going to go global.
Right.
And
But
so
they-
they're mind controlling people to support clean energy, universal health care,
Go
you know.
green. Exactly, Dion.
And systemic racism.
Yeah. And this is the thing where I'm like,
This is his
"Oh."
grand plan.
And there is a moment, and I love the moment where somebody says, "Hang on, we should probably be supporting them."
This is Beth when she's finding out what their plan is, and she's like, "Oh, they just want clean energy," and they're just like, "Wait, hang on, there's something else." Oh, and world peace to end hunger.
I mean, there's got to be a point where Stargirl's like, wait, are we the bad guys?
Yes, and they have that moment, which is cute. But then the next moment is, a quarter of the people they're going to try to mind control are going to die. So, it's what at what cost?
I'm
It's the
still
trolley.
down
It's
for
the
it,
trolley thing, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Or
Honestly,
the old herd immunity question.
And also, though an interesting part of that is that they also then say the people who are most likely to die are the people who have entrenched beliefs that they're going to fight back against and who are older. So it's like you're actually going to kill off the boomers who have stupid ideas. And I was like, Oh. And there is some real political stuff in there where you're like, I'm not sure whether or not they're trying to say that Democrats and progressives are actually crazy, or whether or not there's this kind of like, because the whole thing of it being Blue Valley is all about this whole blue wave thing.
Wow.
You know, it's like we're talking progressive, we're talking Democrats, and I was like, oh,
Wow.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Oh no. Because I'm down for an injustice society if we're fighting injustice. Like, hey, we're going to fight injustice by
Yeah,
making
right?
green energy. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm with you.
Maybe that's what their name is about after all.
Sure, some of you may die, but
it's for the greater good.
The greater good. But that's kind of where it's at. Like, and I think that would have been the most fucking interesting thing if by the end of it, you're like, oh, hang on, the Injustice Society is fighting injustice, and we actually kind of need to get on board with that.
Now I want to know what the fuck were the JSA doing that made the Injustice Society go, okay, guys, come on. Like, with the JSA just by like, let's strip mine that thing over there. We're going to put in a coal mine. Like, you know, black people should get out.
The entire thing with the JSA was like just the preface to a good fridging. So like that does get explained. It does get explained.
There is also, there is a good question as to what was the JSA doing. I mean, there is a bit of a thing that Courtney is a walking American flag. Like, she could be the poster girl for MAGA.
Yes.
I mean,
It's a bit sad.
I mean, she has a robot sidekick made out of classic cars that is that will just
and she is all about, you know, the nuclear family, like that is 2.5 kids, and it's kind of like, and this whole thing. So I feel like there may actually be a really, really weird undercurrent underneath this whole series.
You've cracked the
that
code
is saying
now,
some
Quinny.
very fucking strange subversive shit.
Yeah.
Do you mean subversive?
I'm not sure that I like it.
No.
Espionage.
Yeah. Yes.
One of the other things that kind of I felt was really unresolved was this kind of romance subplot between Courtney and Cameron, Icicle Jr., because you're like, oh, this is going to be like really interesting when they fall in love, and then, you know, he finds out that his dad is a supervillain and he's their enemy, and just none of it pays off.
No.
It's just all set up for nothing.
No.
I mean,
he
there's
asks
also
her to the dance, and then it doesn't happen.
Oh yeah.
And then the dance doesn't happen.
And then the dance doesn't happen, and then he doesn't appear for the last 2 episodes when, like, you know, they
Look,
murder
I
his
actually
dad
had
and
watched
stuff.
this a long time ago, and so today I was just watching like clip videos of like the whole series just to get caught up. And there was actually a point where when it got to the end and she's having a conversation with the Owlman boy, and I'm like, hang on, wasn't that the guy that asked her to the dance? How to look the same.
Well, there's 3. Like there's a bunch of sort of dark-haired, thin white kids.
Yeah,
that I was
Edward
like,
Cullen-esque men.
And you're like, okay, well, and one of them gets killed early on, and then there's another one, and there's the guy who starts hitting people with his tuba.
So that's not a euphemism.
Oh, Dion, you have so much to look forward to.
I now need to go down this rabbit hole because I'm just looking, like, with that information in mind, I'm looking back at the things I do know, which is like the nice old German grandparents.
Oh, God.
They're amazing.
Who are just like, I'll just clean up that dead
Jotunheim
body. We know that you're
people.
doing this for good, and the whole good is clean energy.
Yeah, they're a progressive, like good progressive German family who don't also mind a little bit of killing.
Or just covering it up because it's for the greater good.
Look, whoever designed the Jotuns in Thor are like rolling in their lives. They're probably not dead. Over the design of Icicle, or Iceman, whatever it's fucking called.
Icicle.
There's too many ice villains in DC. What's up with that?
It's actually a kind of running joke. Like, I'm sorry, Michael from Perth, who is German, says they're definitely not German.
Norwegian. I keep saying Norwegian.
Right, sorry. Thank you.
Peter's on it. Anyway, those
Netherlands.
Europeans. They're all the same country.
Like there is Icicle, there are multiple, ice-based characters.
Killer Frost, there's
Captain Cold.
Captain Cold. There's Killer
Mr.
Frost's
Freeze.
dad. Yeah,
Mr.
there's
Freeze.
Mr. Freeze. There's so many ice villains.
There's Iceman.
And
No.
Well, okay.
yeah, and as Casper says in Young Justice, they do kind of call it out at one point. There's like just all of the ice villains coming out together, and it's just like, who's the iciest?
This
At the
part is
Iceberg
very
Lounge with
chill.
the Penguin.
Yeah. There are
Oh, dear.
moments like that big sort of storyline, that reveal. I was kind of like, shit, that's the most interesting thing in the show to me. But like there was other stuff I thought like was interesting with, is it Celia, the the Bratz doll?
Oh, Cindy.
Cindy, sorry.
Total
Yeah. I liked that they kind of, start setting her up as a potential frenemy kind of thing and then just toss it away straight away. It's like, nah, she's gonna kill you.
Yeah, one of the things I originally that was pretty good. But one of the things I originally started to hate about it was that like really obvious like mean girliness of it. Because like, yeah, okay, maybe there are some mean girls that are that obviously mean girls, but like real mean girlness is not that obvious. And it was a bit, like, oh, what is this? This is trying too hard to be something that isn't
actual bullies are subversive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, but it's that kind of typical movie mean girl that's just mean out loud so that you can just hate her straight away. And I'm like, oh, that's a bit boring.
I know. Yeah,
she would have been more interesting if there was a bit of a friendship going on before we found out that she was.
If they became friends and then she stabbed her in the back and spread rumors about her.
I thought
kind of stuff.
They were kind of going with that for a little while. Like there was that whole thing where she was like, okay, we can be friends, or we can hang out, and then didn't. And I was like, in a way, like I feel like they were going, okay, that's a trope, and we're going to avoid the trope by turning her into a straight up villain. And I was like, yeah, but sometimes that trope and that kind of delayed gratification, the tension of does she know, does she not know, all that kind of stuff is interesting. And to kind of play it out within one episode, you're like, oh, okay.
So, quick question for me off this for the rest of it. Did anything ever happen with the pink pen?
No.
Oh, for fuck's
Nothing
sake.
at all.
I thought that would be
was
cool.
The pink pen?
That was
the most dangerous thing of them all.
The Thunderbolt that's in the pink pen.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't know which characters. Is it the Flash? Is it the Speed Force that's in the pen, or is it the Shazam Thunderbolt? See, I don't know. There's a
I don't
thing
know.
for season 2.
And season 2, and I mean, it's funny. The season felt like it had a real case of Lord of the Rings. Like there were so many fucking endings at the end of this. Like every single one of them felt like it should have been a post-credits sting, but there were 3 or 4 of them, and I'm like, make up your mind. What's your end point here?
And I miss the fact that we didn't get to see. Like, I'm still waiting for a really good Dr. Fate on screen.
I like Dr. Fate as a character, and he is a JSA member who would play really well in this.
But still,
do him in the Flash?
Or was it Constantine?
I feel like
well, his helmet showed up in Constantine.
Yeah.
And he was in Smallville, but I don't think they ever did Dr.
Don't
Fate
mention
in this.
Smallville. Smallville is not part of the DC continuity.
Yes, it is.
It is.
It is. It is.
Well, it's not anymore because it was one of the universes that got destroyed, but whatever.
But it was.
But it was. It's gone now. Yeah, I just want to see him do a nice live action Dr. Fate.
See, I guarantee you that next season they're going to do more JSA stuff. So we're probably going to get, those other characters. We'll probably get the Green Lantern. We may get the pink pen.
May get the pink pen.
Remember that.
I mean, we'll probably, and I'm hoping we get some of the more goofy, like bad guys as well, like Gentleman Ghost or
even goofier.
Only imagine.
Whatever you're imagining, it's that. He's dapper as fuck, and he's a ghost. Yeah.
Oh.
I'd like to see that. I mean, we're going to get Eclipso, which is an interesting kind of decision.
You've got to. You see, this is the thing. You've got to have a really good, solid core narrative storyline to follow weird shit around with. Like, I think that's
yeah,
the
I
thing.
really don't see where the story is going to go in the second
Yeah, or like even the core team. Like, if you're going to have the Scooby Gang, if you're going to have the Stargirl thing, group, that needs to be super solid so that you're okay when they introduce weird side characters who turn up for one episode and then they beat the fuck out of them and then they move on.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of need. I think that was a success with Buffy. Is like every now and again it was like, oh yeah, here's Monster of the Week, and then
Yeah, well,
other
it feels
narrative
like it
arcs.
could turn into like a Young Justice kind of situation because like all of the adults in the Injustice Society are basically dead now. And
Mm.
Cindy is kind of really the only one left that has like any motive to go up against these guys. So
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe she'll
after-
start her own junior gang.
Well, now that they've saved Republican America from the Democrat Evil.
Agenda.
the blue wave, what are they going to do? They're going to turn on each other? Is it going to be Republican versus Republican? Is it MAGA versus MAGA?
Also, as somebody who doesn't know things, I was very confused why there was Cerebro at the end of this thing.
Oh yes, thank you. I'm so glad you pulled that one.
Like, what? It's just Cerebro. Could they not have come up with a different design for it?
It was very lazy. I looked at that and I was like, oh, come on, do a triangle, do a square, choose any other, dodecahedron even.
Yes, but they got the prop for free. They've stopped making these. See, they're very expensive, Quinny.
It was one of those things like they walked into it and I was like, that's actually the exact design. Like it even has the same little thing with a round bit on the end. And I was like, oh wow.
Yeah. And see, I'm not a super fan at all, but I immediately went, it's Cerebro. Oh, this is not even the right universe for that.
Well, you just didn't see that deleted scene of Professor X wheeling out of the room before they went in. He's like, have you finished with the professor? Yes, it's all yours now.
Yeah. I just imagine like the bad guys doing a morning Frank, morning Irv, checking in. So there was a character that we will bring up now that I thought was fucking a bizarre choice that they chose to bring in, and not just the JSA, but the entire 7 Soldiers of Victory.
Oh man,
Who
I
is
really didn't see any of this coming. I thought the janitor was going to end up being Starman that had like amnesia or some shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But to pull like some left of center like Arthurian DC legend thing just was, I'm like, why?
Yeah. So originally the 7 Soldiers of Victory in the comics from 1941 were the Star-Spangled Kid, Vigilante, the original Vigilante, who was just a dude with a gun, Green Arrow, Crimson Avenger, and Shining Knight, who was basically, I don't know, some kind of Arthurian thing. And yeah, they're like, okay, we're going to introduce that. And so the janitor is Shining Knight, and you're like, why?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, he left at the end of the series, so maybe like he'll go and find the others and we meet them next season.
Maybe, but I do like how at the end of the season, even he's like, but I didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
I want to see it get more cosmic. I'd like to see, she's got the cosmic staff. Can't she fly into space? Can't she do the whole kind of flying around?
She can't breathe, so.
Well, yeah, but apparently she doesn't get cold at high altitudes because, like, she's just riding on the back of Stripe, just in a pajamas at one stage. Like,
That's fine.
It bugged me. That really bugged me because I was like, hang on, does she have superpowers now? How is she not like, dude, take me down? It's cold up here.
Yeah, and she gets the shit kicked out of her a lot. And you're like, surely there's some broken bones and shit in all of that.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's a kids' TV show. Come on.
Yeah, I like the introduction of her dad in that one episode. I thought that was a good little episode. That dude has the biggest chin ever. Like nothing else to say about him. It's not a particularly important episode or anything, but it was just like, wow, what a chin.
Do you think that she has any connection to Starman besides just looting stuff? because I didn't really get an idea from the mother when she saw a photo of him that she knew him. So I'm not sure if like maybe this dad that's not in the picture anymore is actually her dad, or was just like someone that the mum was seeing when she was seeing this other guy. Like, I'm not quite sure if that's going to go anywhere. Because otherwise, like, why bring him back at the end of the season?
Yeah. I don't know.
All
Like,
these questions, not enough answers.
yes, many, many,
Yeah,
many.
so that we're
questions.
all like, oh, hey, John McHale might be in the next season. I'll watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will be on board for it because I mean, I'm a bit of a fan of the kind of deep cut DC history stuff. Like the 2-episode arc of Smallville where they did the JSA stuff was one of my favorite bits because it was so fucking comic booky. And I was like, yes, you're finally admitting you're a comic book show. Fuck you, no tights, no flights. You're admitting it. Yes, I'm
Fuck
still
your
bitter.
rules.
Yeah. And so yeah, I will be back for more of it, but there is a little worry for me now where I'm like, oh, are we gonna now do the CW side of things where maybe the budget for the special effects isn't as good, it all feels like it's shot in Vancouver again.
Ooh, I hope so. Because that's what I come to expect from the CW and DC TV. It's like, oh, yeah, you don't have enough money for that, do you?
Yeah, okay.
Just put a hood on them. Get them some eye makeup. And put that's it. Hoods and eye makeups. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah, and then get them to do that fighting style where they have very wide stances and just do lots of
I
kicks.
did like the thing when Wildcat was putting on her costume and she's like, I'm not putting that on. It smells gross.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like,
Gym bag.
that's funny. And then goes, what? Oh, the helmet smells worse. I was like, that's funny. That's actually, yeah, because an old dusty superhero costume. It's like, yeah, we're going to do a lot of physical activity and fighting and running and stuff and then just sit around in it for a long time. When you take it off, it's going to be like, oh, does not smell good.
I'm also very excited that the guy who played Brainwave, Henry King Sr., Christopher James Baker, Aussie actor.
Good.
I did not know.
Good on Aussies out there getting. Yeah. It's hard to get work in a CW show these days.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's not many of them around.
Just up until I see Australian film and TV actor Jai Courtney turn up as Captain Boomerang, because I just hope he starts giving less of a shit and starts going, yeah, I'll be in it. Sure, I'll play Captain Boomerang in anything DC. Why not? I'll do it. Just fucking why not?
I just want to shout out to Casper in the chat who's like, I was Smallville, stuck with that way too long. 10 years, man. 10 long fucking years.
I enjoyed the whole thing.
Quinny, I enjoyed the whole thing, but I was still angry.
Religiously.
Angry at the end that he never put on the fucking suit.
Yeah,
it was Quinny, getting his bootlegs on VHS of the Smallville show when it came out in America.
Yeah.
Still watching it. Got to get his fix once a week. Yep.
It's funny because like that if you look at the timeline of this, Smallville was the JSA. 10 years ago, that was Smallville.
Yep. And you did make me watch that Aquaman pilot of the failed Aquaman TV show.
So good. So good.
It is actually quite good.
Yeah.
I did like that Aquaman. Especially because they had that little motif of just him leaping out of the water all the time. So it's like he's on a springboard and you could never see where the thing would throw him up. He'd just leap and then come out of the water and land on a dock or a jetty or something.
Yeah.
It's always something. There's always a fjord.
One of the best parts about that one is that was a pilot that they shot, and then they liked the actor so much they said, "Oh, you can be the Green Arrow on Smallville. Yeah. We think you're really good, but the show is shit, so we're not going to make it."
Oh, he was a dreamboat.
He was.
Dreamboat.
It's still a shame. And then they put Aquaman in Smallville anyway, and then he became Hawk out of Hawk and Dove.
Fucking hell. Just recycling them.
Yeah, Alan Richardson.
Do you just sign a contract with either Marvel or DC, and then that's what you have to do for the rest of your career, like the artists and writers of Marvel and DC?
Well, probably.
You're just stuck
also, that Alan Richardson also became Raphael in the Ninja Turtles movies. You just couldn't tell because he was in.
No, that was Alan Rickman.
I would watch that.
Yes, everyone would. It'd be great. Anything
Peter,
else?
I feel like this has been a tough time for you.
I've had a great time. Love you guys.
Getting an
Ow.
education.
I just tune out a
Oof.
little bit when you go deep DC. That's all.
All right. So all the time.
Yeah. This one has been a very, very deep DC dive for you, and I'm very sorry.
Okay. Well, anything else? Is there anything else for this one? We've been around for a long time now. Today's it's been a long one. We're making up for it.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. So, thank you so much for joining us. You have our ratings. We would love it if you would tell us. So, Michael in Perth, thank you so much for this suggestion.
Sure.
We appreciate it, and we want more suggestions. If there are things that you want us to watch, let us know. No, we're not going to watch Avatar.
I'm not.
I don't know.
I made that
I
abundantly
still
clear.
might. I'm curious.
Yeah, sure.
I love all of Avatar. I love Legend of Korra, and I love Aang.
I can give you the quick breakdown, Peter. It's really fine. Okay, what there is there's this planet, and it has unobtainium on it. And then the Na'vi.
And they're the blue cat people.
Yeah, called the Navy, and they.
I believe they're pronounced Usnavi.
And they're fighting the army.
that was a deep musical reference from Quinny over there.
Yes. It's in the heights of classic stories.
Did anyone see that this week? Kate Winslet tweeting a photo of her on the set of Avatar.
No.
And there was a photo of her and she's like, oh, I learned how to free dive and I can hold my breath for 7 minutes now and all this kind of stuff. And then a photo of her on the bottom of a pool holding like a big wavy kind of thing, looking kind of like a manta ray. And they were like, what? Do you want to tell us about the film? And she's like, oh no, I can't say anything. Like, I can say nothing, but it was fun. Kind of thing.
And most people going, didn't even know she was there.
I do all my scenes underwater and it was fun. That was it.
Being a blue cat?
I think that she'll be an underwater. No, fuck, who knows? Who fucking knows?
Well,
It's James
that's
Cameron.
what happened at the end of Titanic. She just
Is
sank.
Zoe Saldana coming back?
She could be
It's on her IMDb.
Yeah,
I would assume so.
Kate Winslet could be a fucking robot for all we know.
There's been a lot of talk in the chat about the Harley Quinn animated series. And we've had a lot of people talk about that. So we will look at that very, very shortly.
Seems pretty liberal ideology in the Harley Quinn thing.
Anyway, so yes, please send us your suggestions on the Facebook, on the Instagram, on the Twitters. We love hearing from you. If you've got any of those emails or voicemails, send them to us. info@theperiodictableofawesome.com.
If you feel like it, shout us a coffee. We'd love it. That'd help.
Yes.
And what are we doing next week?
Well, next week we're actually cleaning up after ourselves. We've made a mess, so now it's time to clean up.
Oh, that's not what I had in my calendar, but sure.
So we're going to be having a look back at a bunch of series that we've watched just the beginnings of, and talking about where they ended up.
Yeah, we're doing a recent television recap. A working title. But things like we haven't finished off, like The Boys season 2. Lovecraft Country, Raised by Wolves, because I still need to talk about the ending.
Yeah, we need to talk about the ending of Raised by Wolves. Oh my God.
You didn't say they'd be raised by wolves.
Yeah, we'll be...
that kind of stuff.
And I mean, we might have a bit of a look around at what else is kind of out and about, and there's a bunch of stuff that we can be talking about. There's new stuff that's dropped. Marvel's Hellstrom came out last week.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of things, and considering all of the cinematic releases went
yes
till next year. But of course, we may also mention something to do with The Mandalorian season 2, which is
really we can talk about that.
Really? Maybe we won't. Maybe we won't say anything. It comes out on Friday. Not that I'm counting.
Definitely not counting down at all. So yes, I like that. Predator Kangaroo is calling it spoiler cast.
Spoiler cast.
I kind of dig that.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a lot of things that we started and we talked about, and we'll see if our ratings hold up.
So is the whole episode just spoiler town?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll leave the
like
spoiler
we're going to
thing.
talk about the ends of series, and if you haven't watched the ends of those series, bad luck.
And
Yeah.
I've got to catch up on a lot of the boys, and I've got to catch up on a lot of Lovecraft Country. Otherwise, it's all going to be bad for me.
Yeah, the boys.
I'm in the same boat.
But this will be fun. We'll talk. We'll talk about it and see whether or not we still agree that the end of the season was as good as we rated it for the start of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tell me about the ends of stuff that I don't want to watch.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
if there's anything that you've
Great
decided,
fireworks.
fuck it, we're not going to watch the rest of that. Like,
What is
so-
it? Our greatest mistake was the Orville, because we watched the first episode.
Oh,
Like, this
man.
is going to be shit, and then by the end we're like, we are so sorry. This was a very good program, and we're like,
Yeah.
it's not.
I like that we actually did an entire second podcast to basically say sorry we fucked up on that one.
many apologies.
Predacanga asked the question: do we only review new stuff? There's a great old New Zealand series that I'd love to suggest. We're not going to do Terry Teo.
Come on.
nor-
Terry Teo.
But I don't know. Look, I think we can suggest a way.
Suggest a way. We can always say no.
Please send us the messages, send us the emails, and tell us if there's a series that we really should be checking out, because there's a lot out there.
Yeah,
It's
suggest
always nice
it,
to
like-
discover something that you've missed.
Oh,
Exactly.
God, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I
all we
love-
can do is say no. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
We could not watch it, and then we could
Publicly humiliate
just
people
read the
for-
Wikipedia.
Damn.
You fuck one goat. Oh dear.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much fun stuff out there. So yes, please. Oh right, yeah.
I have actually watched an episode of what has just been referenced in the chat about Norse gods being reincarnated in Auckland.
What's it called? The mighty somethings? The mighty.
Yes, something like that.
get that.
It's like the mighty Hendersons or something really like. I've
Oh yes, I do know that one now.
yeah.
Yeah,
God, it's gonna bug me until I can remember its name.
I'm not going to say Johnson.
Oh, the Almighty Johnsons.
It was Johnson's. Oh my
Yeah.
God, the dick jokes do not stop.
So yeah, I have
wonderful.
heard of that, and a lot of actors who have gone on to do a bunch of other stuff were in that first. Like that was one of those ones that sort of seemed to spawn a lot of big talent that went on to become very famous. So
Excellent.
Nice.
Well, I've been Dion.
I've been Quinny,
Have been Jill.
Peter.
just Peter.
What? Porter.
Drops mic.
I don't know whether you might cut out the words "I've been" or just came out. We're just like,
We
Peter.
just said Peter.
I did say I have been Peter.
Yay.
Gesundheit. And we'll catch you all next time. Bye.